their reputation. Danny Shaw, BBC News.
Bats, they are mysterious creatures, the stuff of literature and legend. They live in the dark and like to avoid human contact. But now scientists here in Britain are using new technology to study these secretive mammals to try and find out what they really get up to. Well, with me is our science correspondent, Helen Briggs. What are these scientists doing, Helen?
Well, what they've actually done is trained computers to listen in to bats, which is amazing because we can't hear them. They're ultrasonic calls. So they've trained computers to actually make out their calls, and they've put these on a computer chip into a box, and they've sighted them around Olympic Park in London. So they've got a sort of sat-nav of bats. They can find out where bats are, and the exciting thing is they can see what they're doing when we're out in the park, going to football matches, making lots of noise, switching on the lights, that kind of thing. They can see how that activity in an urban environment impacts on wildlife.
And do we know yet any results? Like, what are the bats up to?
Well, at the moment it's a prototype, so they've got the first results in, so you can actually see in real time, and this data is going to be available on a website, so you can go and track, go and see what bats are where. Eventually they'll have more information and they could apply it to other wildlife as well.
Yes, what are the implications for other species?
Well, the amazing thing is these are sort of smart sensors that you can put around towns and cities, possibly in the countryside as well, and as long as you have the technology to detect sounds of animals, you can find out what they're doing. So you could apply it to birds, for example, frogs, even mosquitoes. So it's a good way of monitoring the biodiversity of the planet.
Do you think, Helen, that lots of people are going to be surprised, I was a bit, that there are so many bats just living around us in urban environments?
Absolutely. I mean, in a London park, you wouldn't expect to have lots of bats, but there's quite a few species of bats out there. And of course, we don't know that much about them, so we can find out more. And the good thing about bats is they're a measure of the health of an environment. So if you've got lots of bats in a town or city, then you know that there's other good wildlife around as well. So it's a good way of monitoring generally the wildlife health of our cities.
I suppose that's why they're in Olympic Park, because so much was done there to create an environment for wildlife after the Olympics finished. But tell us more about bats. I mean, they're shy, obviously, but they don't harm people in any way.
Well, the species certainly present in the UK, they don't carry any diseases that are dangerous to people. They're extremely important in the ecosystems. They go out at night and they use ultrasound to hunt down tiny flying insects. So it's amazing ability to use ultrasound to find insects and swoop in and prey on them. So they are absolutely fascinating creatures, and I think this project will tell us a lot more about these amazing creatures, not just here, but can potentially be applied elsewhere around the world. And they're going to make the data available so people can actually take this information and try and build their own bat technology, bat boxes, and use it themselves.
It'll be interesting to see the findings when they come out, more of them. Helen, thank you so much. Well, air pollution is a huge problem in cities around the world. It affects the health of millions, but a